Did I black out?
I cannot enter.
Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions. And Mr. Hampton, the patient.
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of...
What kind of...
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows...
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Thank you, Nurse Crane. Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new...
Dr. Swansea has already told us about...
Did he really? It's a good thing
All members of staff have already read about...
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised.
You must know, blood transfusions are...
How are things here?
not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any but...
Do you think this hospital...
We are all volunteers here.
An invisible enemy?
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you... Good evening, sir.
So it is true.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before.
Dr. Tippett, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident.
What is the Pembroke Hospital?
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's more than enough. In any case, the personnel of a hospital are much more important to me than the building.
Don't be misled by appearances, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Any opinion of...
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to...
Ah, yes, the burden of command.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
Tell me more.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be...
What can you tell me about...
Some are really...
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
And I thought last time this epidemic was difficult.
Good evening, sir.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hook.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Doctor.
I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have...
So what do you do exactly in this?
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess.
Since you're on the front line, how is this?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals...
It sounds like things...
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I would...
You left an infected...
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doc.
Are you really smuggling?
And why not? I've already been attacked by...
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their own.
How is the situation?
You want to hear the situation?
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doc.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Doc.
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed,
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. It's locked. Scowl voices in the garden. I should investigate. If they were to find somebody. It's locked. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
I have some good...
What?
I retrieved your wallet.
Well, yeah, Pippa Hawkins is my girl. So what? Is it the difference of skin colour that bothers me?
Not at all, Milton.
Good. Please, take this money any...
What's going on between you and Nurse Hawkins?
Pippa's tired.
During the war, I witnessed a few couples just like you come together in difficult circumstances. It can be very damaging.
Maybe you're right.
You do realize you could both get fired. Hospital staff are not meant to have intimate...
Come on, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Milton. Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye, Milton. Dr. Swansea is right.
Little result.
This place seems perfect to conduct my research. Good evening, Doctor.
Dr. Reed. Dr. Swansea, I am Thoreau Strickland. Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Doctor.
What can you tell me?
Well, it has always been an honor to work with Dr.
You seem quite optimistic.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test.
Questions remain about our...
True. Last summer.
Do you need help with it?
Well, yes, maybe.
Do you want me to play the errand?
Oh, no, Dr. Reed. But if you went personally to his shop, what with your reputation and all, he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time. What can you tell me?
Well, it has always...
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of you.
What made you choose to be a...
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired...
It's always a pleasure to share scientific and medical knowledge with someone eager to learn. I'll be glad to help you if I can.
This epidemic may be the century's most terrible disaster, but I'm convinced that we, as doctors, are the only ones able to defeat it.
I based my technique on my mentor's research.
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against...
Tell me more about your willingness to
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood...
What is it you really want?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick.
Tell me, Mr. Fiddick.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
What can I do for you, Doctor?
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
Never could keep anything from her.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr.
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my condition.
I see.
I'm Harvey Fiddick.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you...
I'm a carpenter, and a good one.
Tell me about the doc...
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from...
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed.
I won't lie to you about...
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed?
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. Tell me about your
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself...
Of course I didn't hurt myself.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in...
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and...
I would like to say that she didn't suffer.
How are your children after losing their mother? Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick.
I will not let you down. My boy.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed.
Reed? Yes, I've been informed about your arrival.
Does my arrival inconvenience?
Let us just say that I don't particularly share Dr. Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you. What we need here are
It seems you have bad...
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the...
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd. I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved...
I don't question your skills, Dr. Reed, but your motive. Is it money? Fame? Or are you...
And what exactly is...
I served in the war just like you. But unlike you, I did not use the wounded to play the mob...
Be careful what you insinuate, Doc.
I only want you to admit you used those...
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of
Tell me, Waverly, what do you think of Dr. Strickland's enthusiasm for his experimental research?
Strickland is playing with his patients' lives.
Are you thinking about something?
Harvey Fiddick needs delicate surgery. I believe we should stick to the usual procedure. But my young colleague obviously disagrees.
Why do you wish to lead this surgery?
I strongly believe that Mr. Fiddick should not be butchered to test an unproven procedure.
Other people may say that.
Conservative? And what are you going to say to Mr. Fiddick if he loses his arm because of the operation? Because that's what's going to...
And are you not afraid that your rivalry with Strickland may be blinding you?
Rivalry? I guess you could call it that. But I will...
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please.
Dr. Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position.
I know we've never met before.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my...
There is no need for such animosity between us. Don't you think the epidemic is already enough to deal with?
That is one point we could agree on. And that is precisely why I want to be sure that you will be of help to this hospital.
Since you're
Let's just say I'm tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time, his enthusiasm...
carelessness.
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here...
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our...
Thank you for your time.
I'm quite busy.
Thank you for your time. Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds.
I beg your pardon.
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
Who are you really?
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal?
I'm curious to know who you were.
No, it was such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's mind.
And why do you believe?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept.
I'm assuming you must be a
It's only a cover. To hide.
Who are these enemies you...
I cannot say for sure.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're...
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a...
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
I'll leave you, Mistress of... Good evening, sir.
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position...
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moan.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars. If you get my...
Can I do anything?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under me.
Who is treating you?
It's nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smart.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same.
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something...
Aren't you afraid?
She's quite harmless, I can assure you.
So do you let her bite?
And why not? She's only supping if...
She could decide to bite less.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doc.
You do realize she's mentally...
In her madness, she never refers to my scars.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
We have to stop him! Stupid beast! I'll kill it!
It's locked, all right.
Watch it! It's a killer! Look at it! Vicious bugger!